Welcome back to our software design and development unit. In this lesson, we will look at the standard algorithm finding max. Our learning intentions are as follows. We'll learn how to use a finding max algorithm to find the highest value in a list or an array. And our success criteria for this lesson will be I am able to implement finding max algorithm and describe its operation. A definition to start the lesson. Finding maximum is an algorithm that searches for the highest value in a list or array and returns that value. The finding max algorithm is the opposite of the finding min algorithm we looked at the last lesson. Again, we will use the array numbers, which has 10 elements indexed from 0 to 9 for this example. In the finding max algorithm, the first value in the list is set to the maximum value. In this case, that value will be 10. We'll traverse the array and each item in the list is compared to that maximum value. If the items we are comparing it against are larger, we will replace the maximum value with that value. In this way, we'll get the value returned of the maximum value in the array. We are now going to traverse through an array and using the finding max algorithm, we will go through each line of code a line at a time. We will visually see us traversing the array called numbers at the top, and we will use a trace table to trace out the values within our variables as we go. As we mentioned earlier, in the first line, max is set to the first value in the array. In this case, it's the first value in the array numbers, which is index 0. So max in this case will be 10. We then enter the loop, which will loop for 9 times because we want to start that loop at the first position, the second position, which is index 1 through 9. So we go into the loop, so I will be 1 in this case, and at line 5 we're saying if numbers I is greater than max, so numbers being our array, I being the number 1, so the value in there is 11. So if that is greater than max, which in this case is 10, this condition is met. We will replace max with numbers I. Therefore, we have a new value of 11. We iterate. Again, we will traverse around the array. I increments to 2. And numbers I has the value 8. And if that is greater than max in this case, which is 11, that condition is not met. Therefore, max remains at 11 before we traverse again. Traversing and iterating around a loop, I increments to 3. Numbers I, so numbers index 3 is 15, and if that is greater than max, which is 11, which it is, and that condition is met, we will replace max with the value 15. Again, we will traverse through and iterate around a loop, incrementing I to 4. Again, our condition will be checked. If numbers I, which in this case is the value 23, is greater than max, which is 15, again that condition being met, we will replace the value 15 with the value 23 and assign that to the value, the variable max. Again, another iteration of a loop, incrementing I by 1 to 5, checking our condition, numbers I, which in this case is the value 6, if it's greater than max, which in this case is 23, that condition is not met, so therefore max remains at 23 before we have another iteration of a loop, incrementing I again to 6. So we're traversing through our array nicely now. Index 6, which is the 7th position in the array. Again, we are checking our condition, numbers I, which is 42 in this case, if that is greater than max, which is 23, which it is. That condition is met, therefore we will replace the value inside our variable max with the value 42. And again, another iteration, incrementing I to 7, checking our condition, numbers I being the value 17. If it's greater than max, which is 42, which is not, therefore this condition is not met. So therefore at line 6, the value inside our variable max remains at 42 before another iteration of our loop, incrementing I again to 8. Again, checking that condition, numbers I has a value 9. Again, that is greater than our max, which is 42, which is not, does not meet the condition, therefore max remains at 42 before again our last iteration. We will finally traverse through the entire array, where I is now 9. Numbers I is 31. That is greater than 42, which is not. That condition is not met, therefore max remains at 42. And we exit our loop and go to line 10, where we display our maximum value, which is 42. Again, thanks for watching this series of videos. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe.